So I did some off-camera grinding. You see, back whenever I started Zykia, I was also starting a nightmare. One that would last me a moon. Specifically a moon, because if we take it back one, whenever I actually finished Zykia, I foolishly said, we're going for farming 50. And the last thing I want to do whenever starting a project is not stay true to my word. Now, the foolish part of lighting this fire wasn't the fact that I started it in the first place. It was my underestimation. But I didn't care, I had meaningless numbers in my eyes. Technically speaking, I was still working towards farming 50 before I finished Zykia, as I had expanded upon it with intentions to farm a few days prior. And as with many of my other projects, it only took me a few days to finish, but a few months to start. I mean, looking at the building now, it's pretty cute, it would help me get by, but like, back then my mind was innocent enough to the point where I thought, ah yes, this will be enough for me to finish my farming quest. Little did I know, however, that I had already crossed the event horizon. You see, I never crunched the numbers until after I built the building and even after I started farming. I, quote-unquote, dedicated myself at that point to farming, starting at farming 31, which in terms of XP is about 9,322,000, which was pretty good, and I thought at that point I was halfway there. But Skyblock's leveling system did not work in my favor. From farming 19 and above, each level will cost you 100,000 more XP than the last. From farming 44, it starts costing 150,000 XP more, and from farming 47, it starts costing 300,000 XP more, and these exponentially increasing numbers make quick work of the total XP required. Meaning not only was I not halfway to farming 50, I wasn't even halfway to halfway, I was only a third to halfway, as halfway cost over 27 million XP. But I wasn't there to drain my woes, I was there to persevere, to farm, to make Minecraft blocks go ding. So I begun the harvest. The first thing I needed to focus on while farming was getting my legendary rabbit to level 100. What makes this pet necessary to achieve farming 50 is its ability to give you a 30% farming XP boost whenever maxed out. I mean, you get the exact same farming XP boost from the epic rarity, but I just happen to have a legendary on me. So, I went back to grinding my rabbit to level 100 manually, until I figured out about pet items. One of the pet shops NPC sells an item that just so happens to boost the experience of farming pets in particular. So I blew 500,000 coins on it without batting an eye, and well, from there it became a breeze to level up my rabbit, at least comparatively. And in just a mere 2 days afterwards, my rabbit reached level 100, allowing me to pull 30% more XP per crop. It was at this point I knew I was ready to descend. Due to the size and shape of Zykia, a layer is only worth a third of a full-width farm. So I had to build more layers. I built 6 layers of pumpkin and 6 layers of sugarcane. It was at this point my farm finally became infinite, hensing the name of the infinite Zykia. At the start, I was farming for 4 to 6 hours a day, making over 1,000,000 XP. Not only that, with the generous donations of tier 3 farming potions, my farming XP was boosted by 20%. But I wasn't just farming. I was timing my harvests and writing down my yields. With my current setup, harvesting just the Zykia came to a very convenient 1-hour average, and in each hour that the harvest took, I made over 455,000 farming XP. And it was smooth sailing from there. I farmed for so long without any consideration for efficiency. It even got to the point where my farmer boots were too fast for my farm and I had to resort to speedster armor, which is often considered one of the most useless armor sets. Sitting for hours at a time holding the same 3 buttons wiggling your mouse gives you a lot of time to think. Something that actually crossed my mind quickly and often was the fact that sugarcane gives you less XP than pumpkin. 1 block of sugarcane gives you 3.7 XP, and harvesting the fully grown cane gives 7.4, whereas pumpkins give 8.4. So basically, what this all means is that those 6 layers of sugarcane that's been in Zykia ever since I created it has been dragging down my XP yield by 12%. Even with the slightly less efficient farm I had been using for the entire time, I had made it to farming 45. If I hadn't been so naive with Zykia and built it with solely pumpkins, I would have already been level 46 and halfway to 47. But the deeper I looked, the more I learned that sugarcane actually wasn't that bad and had a few upsides. For example, without sugarcane, the farm would not be anywhere close to infinite because sugarcane takes much longer to farm than pumpkins. The reason being is that sugarcane is much more compact than pumpkins because pumpkins require a place to put the stem and water, whereas sugarcane requires just water. To put it into perspective, 3 rows of sugarcane fits inside the same width as 2 rows of pumpkins, resulting in the time it takes to farm a layer of sugarcane to be 50% longer than a layer of pumpkins. And not only that, sugarcane serves more purposes, and it sells for more. The sugarcane may have sacrificed efficiency, but all that was lost was put into alchemy, because not only can you make a bunch of money by selling sugarcane, but you can also use it to destroy Alchemy 50, which is exactly what I did whenever entering Phase 2 of Farming 50. By the time I was already farming 45, I had brewed so much enchanted sugarcane from the farm that I was already alchemy 47, and I had so much money left over from selling farmer boots that I could just buy the rest of the sugarcane. Now you might have just heard me say Phase 2, and that's because after I got alchemy 50, I decided I was no longer going to farm sugarcane. It served me no purpose, and I needed to go with solely pumpkins. At first, I was considering replacing the sugarcane farm with the pumpkin farm in Zykia, but that was entirely too much work, so I decided to move to the bottom of my island. Since sugarcane took up 6 layers of Zykia, and 1 layer was the equivalent of a third of a full-width farm, I decided to make 2 full-width pumpkin farms to make up for it. Oh yeah, the other great thing about sugarcane farms is that you don't have to till dirt and plant seeds. Look, these layers took me only 10 hours to make, but over half of the time was spent tilling and planting. Well, Zai, you were just 5 levels away. I don't know why you didn't just use the farm you already had. Well, the reason I started Phase 2 so seemingly late into the harvest is because the final 5 levels of farming cost over 17 million XP. So I sacrificed my arm to build the farm, and also so I can get that 12% efficiency. And now that Phase 2 is finally ready, I could begin farming once more. Again, I began timing my harvests and writing down my yields. And as I had said earlier, despite taking up as much farming area as Zykia already did, it took less time to harvest. Since there were less rows to farm, the harvest was shortened down to 45 minutes, causing the pumpkins at the beginning to not fully regrow, but it had the exact efficiency I was looking for. Instead of the previous 455,000 XP per hour I was getting with the old farm, I was now getting around 520,000 XP per hour, which left me with no other option. I had to destroy my only good arm to build a 3rd layer, until finally the duration of a harvest was stretched out enough for the pumpkins to regrow. It was finally time to embrace the final stretch. I'd done it. I started this grinding hellhole a month ago, and finally, after holding down 3 buttons for a significantly long time, I've achieved my block dreams. And now, with all the numbers I've written down, I can give you all a true perspective of what it takes to get farming 50. We can combine the hourly XP of the old and new farm together while also considering when I switched to the new farm. Since the old farm was used until farming 45, if we take farming 45's total XP requirement, which is 38,072,425, and divide it by our hourly XP average, which is 455,000, we get around 84 hours. And then, if we take the remaining XP it takes to get to farming 50, we have around 17,100,000 XP, which divided by 520,000 ends up around 33 more hours. So basically, if you got 117 hours to spare not including interruptions, this might just be the goal for you. This was just out of curiosity, but since it took about a month to achieve farming 50, if I take 117 hours and divide it by 30, I was spending around 3.9 hours a day. Yay, fun. After the nightmare was summited, I forever closed Zykia to the public and it lays condemned. My best project had become my worst nightmare. But look at those numbers. By the way, I've been leveling up someone's blaze pet while farming, but I don't remember their name, so can you please come back and get it? I swear, I'm not stealing it from you. Okay, we're finally done with farming 50. I can do some more uploads. I would really appreciate if you guys showed some support on this video because this has been my grindiest project in all of Skyblock. Well, time to go eat ramen and sleep. See you guys later.